There's a tree that is so dangerous that even standing beneath its branches can be fatal.
Makes this potentially the world's only venomous plant.
And I didn't know that it was potentially a little bit dangerous.
What if we tell you that not all dangers in nature have fangs or claws? Some trees are more than just mysterious, they are outright deadly. A single touch can leave your skin blistering, and their toxic sap can even leave you blind. Others even house deadly worms and venomous insects, ready to attack anyone who comes close. But what makes these trees so dangerous, and can something so beautiful be so deadly? These natural death traps exist all around the world, so join us as we reveal the most terrifyingly dangerous trees you must avoid at all costs. Honey locust tree. The honey locust tree, found across the US, may look beautiful in autumn with its striking orange leaves, but don't be fooled because this tree is strangely armed. Beneath its branches are long, razor-sharp thorns, some as short as 4 inches, but others stretching up to an incredible 11 inches.
Is this one, and you notice there's got big clusters of thorns, but they're fairly scattered out.
These thorns are so strong they can puncture tractor tires and have even been known to pierce human skin deep enough to fracture bones. The tree's thorns likely evolved millions of years ago to defend against massive Ice Age creatures like woolly mammoths. Although those giants are long extinct, the honey locust has kept its dangerous defenses intact. If that's not enough, its relative, the black locust tree, is even more sinister. While its thorns are shorter, they carry a toxin called robin, which can cause severe muscle weakness and kidney failure if ingested. So, the next time you spot a tree with sharp thorns, think twice before getting too close. It's built to handle far more than curious humans, but if you feel this is too mysterious, wait till you see the next one. Gympie tree. The gympie tree might sound funny, but don't let its name fool you. It's one of the deadliest trees in the world.
This is a gympie plant, aka suicide plant.
Found in Australia, this tree grows up to 33 feet tall and is infamous for its painful defense mechanism. The tree is covered with thousands of tiny needles that can easily pierce your skin. When they do, they release a potent neurotoxin, similar to the venom from some of the world's most dangerous spiders and snakes. The pain is immediate, intense, and reportedly so severe that people have described it as unbearable, with some even feeling the urge to end their own lives. To make it worse, the needles remain stuck in the skin, slowly releasing toxins for weeks, months, or even years.
Incredibly poisonous, and the pain can last for months or even years.
There's no known cure or antidote for the pain. If you're ever in Australia, make sure to stay far away from the gympie. It's a tree that proves just how dangerous nature can be. Brutal bunyas. Next, we'll go to Australia. Australia is known for its deadly wildlife, but did you know the trees can be just as dangerous? Meet the bunya pine, a giant-like tree from the Jurassic era, over 199 million years ago. Growing up to 100 feet tall, these ancient trees have rigid, sharp leaves that require protective gear to handle. But the real danger comes between December and March, when they drop massive pine cones weighing up to 40 pounds.
These trees drop a large pine cone that weighs up to 20 to 25 pounds.
Think of a seed the size of a 5-year-old falling from the height of a 9-story building. This is not just mysterious, it's a lethal hazard. In 2015, Sean Mace learned this the hard way. While resting under a bunya pine, a 16-pound pine cone struck him, resulting in severe brain damage and multiple surgeries. Indigenous Australians, however, found a way to harvest these pine cones safely, using carved holds to climb the trees and collect the seeds, which is now a traditional food source for them. Would you like to try these seed foods too? Bloodwood trees.
Introducing you to a bloodwood tree. This tree that you can see behind me, it's called a bloodwood tree.
The bloodwood tree, found in southern Africa, has a unique feature. When it's cut, it bleeds a red sap. Surprisingly, this sap is not just for show. It hardens quickly, helping the tree repair itself and seal the cut. In some African countries, people even use this sap as a natural medicine. But the bloodwood tree isn't the only tree with a blood-like sap. The dragon blood tree, native to Yemen, also oozes red sap when cut, but this sap is far more dangerous. It's full of toxic chemicals that can cause serious health issues and, in extreme cases, even be life-threatening if mishandled. So while these trees are fascinating, their blood should definitely be avoided. Strychnine tree. At first glance, the strychnine tree, also known as Strychnos nux vomica, might trick you with its orange-like fruits, but don't be deceived. This tree is one of the deadliest in the world. Native to India and Southeast Asia, it produces the toxic compound strychnine, found throughout its seeds, bark, and even its fruit. A single dose of this poison can cause your muscles to convulse uncontrollably. In severe cases, these spasms can force the body into a painful arched position, cutting off your ability to breathe and leading to asphyxiation. Historically, this tree played a surprising role in controlling the spread of the bubonic plague in India by wiping out rat populations carrying the disease. Even today, its seeds are still commonly used in making rat poison, so if you're walking in Southeast Asia and spot fruit that looks like an orange but doesn't quite smell or feel right, stay far away. This innocent tree could quickly turn a curiosity into a deadly encounter. If you think this is shocking, the next tree will shock you even more. Ghost tree. In Pakistan, there are strange trees known as ghost trees, which have an unsettling appearance. These trees become covered in thick white webs, creating a haunting scene. At first, people couldn't explain this strange sight, but it was soon discovered that the webs were made by thousands of spiders.
And they claim to show trees cocooned in spider webs after millions of spiders climbed up into the trees to take refuge from floods in Pakistan.
When flooding occurs, spiders climb these trees to escape the rising water. They build their webs in the branches, covering the trees entirely. These spiders live and breed there, laying eggs so the trees can become home to thousands of new spiders. While the webs may look beautiful and impressive, standing under a ghost tree can be terrifying as the spiders fall all over you. In 2012, Karachi was overwhelmed by these trees. Still, surprisingly, the locals were relieved because the webs trapped thousands of mosquitoes, including dangerous ones carrying malaria.
The mosquitoes, drawn to the standing water, got caught in the webs, preventing them from spreading the disease to the population.
So, even with how creepy these trees are, they actually helped save lives by controlling the mosquito population at that time. Angel's trumpet. Have you ever heard of the angel's trumpet? The angel's trumpet, scientifically known as brugmansia, may look stunning with its long, trumpet-shaped flowers, but its beauty hides a dark secret. Originally from South America, this plant is now common in gardens worldwide, often grown as an ornamental tree, but every part of this plant is highly toxic to both humans and animals. Even a simple touch can have terrible consequences. The toxins in brugmansia can cause anticholinergic syndrome, leading to confusion, paralysis, and terrifying hallucinations. Some ecologists even wear hazmat suits while handling it. Its effects are far from pleasant. In 2006, a man reportedly drank tea made from the red angel's trumpet, hoping for a psychedelic experience. Instead, in a horrifying hallucination, he mutilated himself. An example of the tree's devastating potential. So despite its striking appearance, the angel's trumpet is undoubtedly a silent menace. Its beauty with a deadly price. Manchineel tree. Say you're enjoying a sunny day on a Caribbean beach when you spot a tree offering some welcome shade, but if you see red bands around its trunk, run because you've just found the infamous manchineel tree, one of the deadliest trees in the world. This tree's sap is very toxic. Just a tiny drop can cause painful blisters or second-degree burns on your skin. Even worse, if it gets in your eyes, it can cause blindness. Standing under the tree when it rains is dangerous, as the sap can mix with rainwater and drip down onto you, causing severe irritation. Breathing in the vapor from the evaporating rainwater can also burn your lungs, but that's not all. The manchineel tree also produces a fruit that looks like a small apple.
Hippomane mancinella, otherwise known as manchineel tree, or the beach apple. This tree is so toxic that most have signs hung around them warning passersby of their dangers.
Known as the beach apple, it may seem harmless, but it's deadly. A tourist once ate the fruit, and within moments her throat was burning, leaving her in excruciating pain. Others have experienced similar symptoms, including mouth blisters and digestive issues. So, if you ever find yourself on a Caribbean beach, avoid this tree and its fruit at all costs. Shipworm tree. Have you ever taken a walk near the sea and spotted something that looks like a slimy creature coming out of a tree? It's not a nightmare, though. It's called a shipworm. Don't be deceived by the name. These are not worms, but soft, white clams that live in salt water. Shipworms are notorious for burrowing into wooden structures like piers, ships, and docks. Once they settle on wood, they start digging tunnels, chewing through the wood as they grow. This constant burrowing can weaken the structure, leading to dangerous collapses and even shipwrecks. What's even more surprising is that, in places like the Philippines, these slimy creatures are considered a delicacy. Can you imagine that? Known locally as tamalok, they are hunted from mangrove trees that are either alive or rotting, but his hunt is risky because the wood may be so weakened by the shipworms that the tree could fall apart at any moment. So, while it may sound terrifying, it's an adventurous meal for those brave enough to eat it. What do you think? Whistling thorn. If you're still recovering from the shock of the shipworm, then you're not prepared for this one. In the quiet savannas of East Africa, there's a tree that makes a mysterious whistling sound, unlike anything you'd hear from a bird. This is the whistling thorn, an acacia tree that can grow up to 18 feet tall. While its thorns may look dangerous, they are not the real threat. The tree has large, hollow thorns that house entire colonies of ants, including the aggressive fire ants. These ants live in a special relationship with the tree, protecting it from any intruders. If you get too close, the fire ants will swarm out, delivering an immediate sharp pain followed by intense itching and irritation that can last for hours. The ants are persistent, so don't expect to get away quickly. But the real mystery comes when the ants move their nests, leaving behind the hollow thorns. When the wind blows through these abandoned thorns, it creates a strange, haunting whistle. So, anytime you hear that whistle, you might want to turn around and leave before the ants come for you. Pisonia tree. Now let's take a trip back to the Caribbean. In the Caribbean, the Pisonia tree is just as dangerous as the notorious manchineel tree. This tree lures birds to nest in its thick branches, but it has a dark secret. The Pisonia releases sticky, gooey seeds that cling to the bird's feathers, trapping them. This clever trick backfires, though, as the seeds are so sticky that the birds become trapped and unable to fly or escape.
Yeah, that's right. One of the theories is that when the seeds get stuck in the bird's feathers, then the birds will actually die.
Some birds end up carrying more than 200 seeds, leaving them unable to move or feed. Eventually, they starve or become easy prey for predators. What's baffling is that scientists can't figure out why the tree does this. Studies, however, show that the tree gains no benefit from the death of the birds. It's still a mystery, but could it be an ancient defense mechanism against predators that no longer exist, or just a strange quirk in evolution? The answers to these questions are still left unanswered, but the next one is even more terrifying. Sandbox tree. The sandbox tree is one of the most terrifying trees you'll ever encounter. Known for its sharp, dagger-like spikes that cover its bark, this tree is so dangerous that it's called the monkey no-climb tree for good reason. These spikes can grow over an inch long, making climbing a deadly idea. On top of that, its sap is so powerful that it can blind anyone unlucky enough to get it in their eyes, but that's not even the worst part. The real danger lies in its fruit, which looks like tiny pumpkins. Once the fruit ripens, it shrivels up and leaves behind a seed pod that's like a natural weapon. These pods explode when they fall, firing hard seeds at speeds up to 150 miles per hour, fast enough to sound like a gunshot. This explosion helps the tree spread its seeds far and wide, so with all its sharp spikes, blinding sap, and explosive fruit, I'm sure this tree isn't something you want to mess with.
Like some unknown creature is stirring beneath the surface. There is slight panic in the region as no one knows what's causing the noise. There's speculation in the air, and the entire region is on edge, bracing for whatever may come from the murky depths. In today's video, we'll be setting out to discover the secrets of the world's longest river, River Euphrates. What caused the drying up, And more still, what are some of these mysterious discoveries around the now dried up Euphrates River? Stay tuned and watch till the end so you don't miss out. What are some facts about the River Euphrates? River Euphrates is one of the most important rivers in the Middle East. Originating in Turkey, it flows through Syria and Iraq before emptying into the Persian Gulf. It is 2,780 miles long, making it the longest river in Southwest Asia. The river is an important source of water for millions of people in the region. It has been a major source of irrigation since ancient times, used for the cultivation of crops such as wheat, barley, millet, and cotton. The river has also been a major transportation route for thousands of years, serving as a major trade route between Mesopotamia and the Mediterranean world. The Euphrates River is also an important source of fish, with over 50 species of fish living in its waters. These include carp, catfish, mullet, and eels. The river also provides a habitat for a variety of birds and reptiles, including pelicans, herons, and turtles. The river is also an important part of the cultural and religious history of the region. In the Bible, the Euphrates is referred to as the Great River and is mentioned in the book of Genesis. In Islamic tradition, the river is known as the River of Paradise and is seen as a source of spiritual nourishment. What are the causes behind the Euphrates River drying up? The Euphrates River has been under a lot of strain in recent years due to overexploitation of its resources. As a result, it has become polluted, with untreated sewage being discharged directly into the river. This has caused it to become a source of disease, and it's making it harder for people in the region to access clean drinking water. Despite this, the Euphrates River is still incredibly important for the culture of the region and a vital source of water for millions of people. In fact, its importance is even reflected in its name, which translates to "good river" in the language of the region. However, it's no longer a secret that the Euphrates River has been drying up over the last few decades. This trend is largely due to a number of factors, including increased water demand for irrigation, unsustainable water management practices, climate change, and upstream water diversion by Turkey and Syria. Needless to say, the drying of the Euphrates River has had an immense impact on the region's environment, economy, and society. What are some of the fallouts from the drying of the Euphrates River? Have you heard about the Euphrates River situation in northern Syria? It's worrying. The water level is so low that 5 million people are in danger of going without drinking water. It's a major issue. It's especially unfortunate since the area was formerly known as the Fertile Crescent because of how lush and green it was. On the other hand, desertification is taking over and threatening whole villages. It's terrifying to consider. Reduced water levels have resulted in the drying up of wetlands and marshes, which has had a significant impact on the species that depend on them for survival. The Euphrates River is drying up so quickly that it may cause a humanitarian disaster for the people in Syria who depend on it for water. Millions of Syrians are losing access to clean water, food, and energy. Aid organizations and engineers are concerned about the likelihood of a humanitarian calamity in northeastern Syria. Rising temperatures, decreasing rainfall, and drought deprive people of drinking and agricultural water throughout the area. As dams fail, power is disrupted, affecting the functioning of essential infrastructure, including health institutions. Droughts become more dangerous and severe when temperatures rise due to climate change. More than 5 million Syrians rely directly on the river. Even Iraq is in the same boat. The lack of river access and drought endanger at least 7 million people. Both nations' droughts have been the worst in recent years. Over the last 2 years, Syria has received 50 to 70% of typical rainfall, endangering 5 million people. This has also had a negative impact on the local fishing industry, as well as recreation, transportation, and tourism industries. Drought conditions have also resulted in crop failure, leading to food insecurity and a rise in poverty. The drying of the river has also increased tensions between countries as they struggle to compete for the limited water resources. Overall, the drying of the Euphrates River has had a significant impact on the region, and it is important that appropriate measures are taken to address the causes of this drying trend in order to protect the river, the environment, and the people who depend on it. How does the river Euphrates feature in the Bible? And what are some prophecies relevant to the happenings today? The Euphrates River is mentioned in the Bible numerous times, beginning in the book of Genesis. In the book of Genesis, chapter 2, verse 14, God instructed the man to cultivate the land near the 4 rivers, including the Euphrates. In the same book, chapter 15, verse 18, God promised Abraham that his descendants would possess the land between the river of Egypt and the Euphrates. In the book of Exodus, chapter 23, verse 31, God promised that Israel would possess the land from the Euphrates River to Wadi of Egypt. In the book of Jeremiah, chapter 13, verses 4 through 7, the prophet foretold that the Lord would punish the people of Judah by bringing a nation from the north to attack them and dry up the waters of the Euphrates. In the book of Ezekiel, chapter 47, verses 15 through 20, the prophet described a vision of a river flowing from Temple in Jerusalem and extending to the Dead Sea and the Euphrates. In the book of Daniel, chapter 5, verses 30 and 31, the prophet predicted that Babylon would be destroyed by a great flood from the Euphrates River. In the book of Revelation, chapter 9, verses 14 and 15, the angel of the Lord predicts that 4 angels will be released from the Euphrates River to kill 1/3 of mankind. In the same book, chapter 16, verse 12, the angel of the Lord predicts that the great river Euphrates will be dried up to prepare the way for the kings from the east. The Euphrates River is mentioned throughout the Bible as an important geographic landmark and is often linked to prophecies of destruction and blessing. The river has been a significant part of the history of humanity since the beginning, and its significance is likely to continue in the future. What does the Lord's coming signify, and how can one prepare for it? To be prepared, first, it is important to understand what the Lord's coming, or the rapture, is. According to 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, verses 16 and 17, the rapture is when Jesus will return to earth to gather all believers to himself. This will be a time of judgment and reward for all who have accepted Jesus as their Lord and Savior. Second, it is important to prepare for the rapture. This means accepting Jesus as your Lord and Savior and committing your life to Him. Like Jesus inferred in John 3:16, the sole criteria for not perishing or being destroyed is believing in the Son of God. Thirdly, 1 Peter chapter 1, verses 15 and 16, we can see that it is important to live a life of holiness and obedience to God's commands. Fourth, it is important to keep an active faith in Jesus Christ, as we were admonished in Hebrews chapter 11, verse 6. Finally, it is important to be ready at all times for the rapture. In the book of Matthew, chapter 24, verse 44, we can learn that Jesus would come when nobody expects. Because of this fact, we are expected to always be watchful, so we don't slack off at any time and get caught unprepared. By following these steps, you can prepare for the rapture and be ready for when Jesus returns. Now, what are some of the signs of rapture that we can tell from the events around the Euphrates River, the drying of the Euphrates River? From a logical or scientific perspective, it is clear that the drying of the Euphrates River is a result of climate change. As mentioned earlier in this video, the river has been drying up over the past several decades due to increased temperatures and reduced rainfall in the region. This drying of the river has been exacerbated by the diversion of water for agricultural and industrial uses. As a result, the river's flow has been greatly reduced, causing it to dry up in certain areas. However, on a careful examination of the fact or current trends concerning the Euphrates River, along with concrete statements from the past, especially from the Bible, the drying of the Euphrates River in recent times is, without a doubt, a fulfillment of the prophecy in Revelation 16:12. Let's explore this further. This verse could be seen as describing the current state of the Euphrates River, as its drying has caused significant disruption to the surrounding region, including the displacement of millions of indigenous people and the disruption of livelihoods. However, and ironically so, this decrease in water levels has been accompanied by a corresponding increase in the number of people moving to the region, particularly from the east. This influx of people can be seen as a sign of fulfillment of the prophecy in Revelation 16:12, as it is interpreted to mean that the drying of the Euphrates River is a sign of the coming of the kings from the east. Furthermore, the drying up of the river has allowed people to cross the river more easily, thus providing easier access to the region for the kings from the east. This can be seen as another sign of the fulfillment of the prophecy, as it supports the notion that the drying of the Euphrates River ties into the declaration made in Revelation 16:12 concerning the end of the world events. The discovery of the caves. Caves are being discovered as the river Euphrates dries up, and allegedly, these caves hold secrets of generations past. The way we see it, the discovery of caverns in the Euphrates River is an open secret confirmation of the closeness of the rapture and the sign of the end times. Let's also highlight the fact that the caverns were discovered in the same region as the prophecy speaks of 4 angels released from the river Euphrates to destroy a third of mankind, is a clear indication that the time is drawing near and that the angels of destruction may soon be released. The possibility that these caverns were once demon prisons in ancient times is a further proof of the prophecy in Revelations chapter 9, verses 13 through 19. Could these 4 angels be fallen angels, now demons? This is a sign that the prophecies of Revelations are true and that we must be prepared for the end times. It is a reminder of the importance of faith and being grateful for the Lord's protection. This should also be a reminder of the need to be vigilant and to be prepared for the coming destruction. The discovery of the caverns in the Euphrates River is a sign that the time of prophecy is near and that we must be ready for the coming of the angels of destruction. What are some of these mysterious events that have been associated with the river Euphrates in recent times? The Euphrates River's retreating waters have uncovered several old archaeological sites. Recently, intriguing caverns have been discovered. It is still being determined who or what excavated these caverns, and several ideas exist concerning their function. Some think they were utilized as demon prisons, and the fact that the river has dried up has led to suspicion that these imprisoned entities have been freed, as described in Revelation chapter 9, verse 14 of the Bible. This finding is often linked to the verse about freeing angels chained at the river. They are discovering tunnels or caverns that have once kept someone or something captive. Archaeologists have been capturing noises emanating from the earth in these regions, sounds that make your skin crawl because they remind you of nightmare creatures. These recordings include groans, grunts, and growls, as well as what seems to be something moving about with chains attached. Could they be the fallen ones getting ready to be liberated from their chambers under the Euphrates? Will they arrive? And if so, will they genuinely take 1/3 of humanity with them? Hold on to your seats as we play the terrifying sounds of fallen angels preparing to wreak havoc. Although the physical manifestation of the Euphrates River drying up has happened, the spiritual manifestation of this catastrophe has yet to be realized. Many people think that the river drying up is not a coincidence and that there are no coincidences in Bible prophecies. It is important to beware of the indications around us and to be prepared for the Lord's imminent coming. The moment for this occurrence is soon coming, and we must be aware of the situation. Well, that's all for today's video. We hope you found this video informative and thought-provoking. What are some biblical prophecies off the top of your head about the end time that are happening in recent times that you'd love to discuss in another episode? We'd love to know, so drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you've enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like it And also subscribe to our channel to see more content from us. Your support is always greatly appreciated. Until next time.
We've come to the end of this video. What do you think about these dangerous trees? Which one have you seen or heard before? Please share your thoughts with us in the comments section. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more. Also, click on the following video showing on your screen. You will enjoy it.